So Paul is currently in Europe for a work conference, and our dates have just lined up. So we've got a little bit of time to spend together, and we've decided to take off on a Camino of sorts.
So some of the more famous routes are the Portuguese route. There is the Via de la Plata, the most established and most famous way, which is the French way. There's also the Mozarabic way. So that's just a few of them, and there are many, many more. But to give you an idea of what we're doing, we're just doing the last section of the French way. So just about 100 kilometres. And then we're also going to be heading out to the coast. So we're going to be heading out to this area right on the coastline that in Galician is known as Fisterra. I love the imagery of all of these routes and the many more of them that come together. And I like to join them all up. It's a bit crude, but it looks like one of those scallop shells, which Paul bought today, which is indeed the symbol of the Camino de Santiago. All of these lines leading to one place up here in the northwest of Spain.
I'm just carb loading for the commencement of the walk.
Seconds. Current split pace 12 minutes 41 seconds.
Just filling out our credentials here. So these are credentials I actually bought on a whim last year in Oviedo in Asturias, and gave one to Paul just on the off chance that we do one, which we're doing, which is pretty cool. So Sarria is the choke point. The minimum kilometres you need to do to get your Compostella are 100 k's. So a lot of people start here. So we just had a Kiwi woman say to us, first day. She said it's got a lot busier since she arrived here. Just my fresh shavings. We've got the pilgrim's menu for breakfast. So you get a piece of toast, piece of fruit, juice, coffee, bottle of water for about €5. We haven't even left Sarria yet, and there's a tourism information office, and at the moment they've got a display of what they call the gigantones, or the giants. And at many Spanish festivals you'll see these being paraded through the streets, and they present parodies of political figures and sometimes show off monarchs. It looks like what these ones are. And interestingly, there's one here of an Indigenous Australia. I wonder why. Yeah. Paul and I are going to count how many nationalities we come across on the Camino. So yesterday we sat in front of a fella from Mexico and a lady from the States.
They fell in love.
They did fall in love. Paul is calling it early. There'll be love on the Camino. You never know. Look at this beautiful robin. That's so cool. Kiwi woman this morning and a South African couple. Many, many, many others, but these are the people we've spoken to. Hey mate. One of these big buffed guardian dogs looking after the stock up here. Blue skies. Paul takes his job of stamping very seriously. In this section of the Camino Frances, it's clearly well travelled. There's even vending machines. Quick pick-me-up on our first day of the Camino. Ham-flavoured chips. These are absolutely delicious. Ahora sí.
Hola.
Mejor? Eso es mi amigo. And I'm going to do a blessing for his grandchildren in Santiago. Un benedicción. Okay, voy a hacer. And he gave me a stick. Gracias. ¿Cómo se llama?
Dionisio.
Dionisio, soy Patrick. I'm currently listening to Don Quixote, the man from La Mancha. It's a shortened version because the original version is something like 40 hours long. When the narrator plays the part of Sancho Panza, aloof realist offsider of Don Quixote, he puts on this cartoonish voice. And speaking to this man just now, he sounded just like it. This kind old man. And my understanding was he was asking me to, when we get to Santiago, to do a blessing for his grandchildren. And he gifted me this stick, and despite my pushing to give it to someone who needed it, he seemed insistent. So I've got to get this stick to Santiago now. Lots of dairy farms here.
Looks like this.
Did you see which number it had?
Yeah, 4404.
When we were kids, more or less every Easter, we'd go to a farm that had dairy cattle, and most mornings at 4 a.m. and then in the afternoons we'd go to watch the cows get milked, and Paul would keep a fastidious checklist and logbook of all of the ear tag numbers of the cows so he could keep track of them year after year. But we'd have to walk through paddocks of cow patties on the way to get there in the morning. Giant pumpkins.
Distance 12 kilometers.
I think it's only when like
Almost got me. One of these Galician grain storages, the Oreos. Buen Camino. Here's an example of where the track splits between those walking and cyclists. There's a bit of a landmark. We've just made it to the 100-kilometre marker. We're aiming to get another 15 k's done today.
yeah.
Paul's written a postcard for our little niece Myrtle. It's the first postbox we've come across. Feels like in the middle of nowhere. So I send little Myrtie some mail from here.
Well, this one's a postcard for Myrtle from Sarria. And from earlier in the trip from Den Haag.
Still counts. Myrtle is the daughter of our little sister Ellie, and she'll be 3 next week, which is very exciting. We've got a project where we send her mail from different parts of the world called Myrtle's Mail. So it goes to Mum's address and she pops it in little Murdy's post box. Gets postcards from various adventures. Looks like the background for Microsoft.
Well, I don't know, I can't speak for Spain, but...
I saw heaps in my last one. This is a shed, part of someone's house. Just says, welcome to our home. You may rest here, but keep it clean. Paul's commenting on the struggle of the pilgrim experience. This is our first real stop, and this this is such a nice place. There's music playing, everyone's got tinto de verano, got some tuna empanada, tortilla de patata, and some beautiful cheesecake. This is easily the nicest place I've seen like this.
Legs are still feeling good, and I'm just treating myself.
It's even got an umbrella in it. This looks like our sister Bridget Zeus's dog. Who's this? Beautiful.
Why? You have a lot of the cow in your country.
We do. Yeah, true. France, Germany, Mexico, Australia, and most recently, a guy called James from South Korea. James just sidled up next to us and started having a chat and listed all of the cities in Australia. Paul and I have a divided view on the following. So James dropped off and we didn't say goodbye. My opinion is that's just the Camino, and he might catch up, we might see him again. But Paul thinks that we've got to say goodbye, like wave goodbye. I just feel like we'll see him again.
Yeah, we probably will see him again, but at least that way we've said goodbye.
Yeah.
I suppose the thing is, why would you have that on you though?
That's what I'm thinking. There's this wall of different drink coasters from across the world. Most of them are English and Irish. So maybe they knew to bring them, as Paul was saying. Why would you have them with you otherwise?
Leeds pale.
Very still afternoon. We're just crossing the Minho River. Just had my drone up in the air. Barely a breath of wind. In the main square. Do you know the name of this town?
Yes, it was on the tip of my tongue, just so I remember it again. I think it's Portomarín.
We're going to push on for maybe another 7 or 8 Ks. It's a busy stop-off point. It seems like a common place where pilgrims pause for the day. Lots of bars and restaurants. Very nice. What's that? I forgot the stick, but it was still by the church. Stick comes with us.
Going.
It's pretty hard yakka this stretch. Up from the river. Paul's charging ahead. Paul's a really fast walker and really only has one gear, so he's being very patient with me. I've just spent most of my time in the last few months in the south of Spain. It's so dry, it's so brown. The end of summer. It's lovely and green up here. We haven't seen anyone since we left that town, but Paul and I have 8 days for the Camino. We decided that the way that we'd like to spend it is to get to Santiago and then also to get out to Finisterre. So to do so, we've got 8 days, so break it up into 4 days to Santiago and then the rest really to get out to Finisterre, to leave a little bit of wiggle room potentially to head up the coastline. It makes for long days, but we're both happy for that. It's probably an hour until sunset, maybe a little bit less. In any case, we've got a couple of kilometres to get to this next town, and it seems on the app Buen Camino there's a few albergues there, so hoping there's still some space left. How's your day been, Paul?
Yeah, very nice day.
How's your body feeling?
Feels good.
Are you hungry?
Not too bad because we were spoilt for choice at lunch.
I was caught out earlier this year doing the Anglaise one night where there was no food places around. So we bought some ham and cheese and biscuits just in case. So we hit the town that we planned to, Gonzar, I think it's called, and the first place is full. So the reality is we're on the French Way, which is the most travelled route of all the Caminos, and we're doing the final 100-kilometre stretch, which is when most people do it. So it's bound to be busy. So a little bit of naivety, a little bit of lack of preparation, but also a lot of, we'll be right, because we will be right. There's more places, and we're pretty easygoing about the whole thing. Well, that's number 2. So it's dark now. I don't know where Paul's gone. So after that municipal albergue was full, Paul wandered down into town and found this place called Casa Garcia. It's our second morning on the French Way, starting in Sarria. Everyone's already gone. Not many people stayed here last night. But this one had blankets, actual sheets, pillows. It feels like an old manor house they call Parzos up here that's been converted into pilgrim accommodation. All right, time to hit the road. Vaseline this morning?
Yeah, but so far it's just been reabsorbed into my circulation.
So Paul has given up the tights today. He thinks it contributed to some significant chafe.
So the rest day was Torga, and then after that it started like it was this.
Is a star and
Big slugs on the Camino. On this route so far, we haven't seen too many of these, but here's some Tassie blue gums. They've been planted to make paper. These pilgrims back here, we're just giving out free hugs. Doesn't make Paul very comfortable.
no, not for the sort of free hug sort of stuff.
Oh, cows.
Nice stretch through here. Uptown. I think we're aiming for Pala the Ray for lunch, which is about 8 k's away from now. I'm giving a head start to Pad. Almost certainly within 2 minutes I will have caught him, however, have requested that Pat doesn't do drone footage from above whilst I'm walking, as it grossly exposes my baldness.
There seems to be quite a few services that do this, but here's one of the postal vans that takes luggage from destination to destination. It's great, really. It enables people that might not otherwise be able to do the Camino to do it. It's a good idea. So I've just had lunch in a town called Palas de Rey, and with a Swiss couple who started all the way in St. Jean Pied de Port. They were very nice. Anyway, the rains have just rolled in. Looks good. Look like a turtle.
Here's my bag company.
Yeah.
What have you found there?
Shush. So we saw a woman, I saw a woman a little bit further back, stepping on these husks, and Paul and I were trying to work them out. We've seen thousands of these along the way.
But
This
what are they?
Beautiful, shiny nuts. And with a bit of Googling, because we didn't know, they're chestnuts. This is the bridge in Forelos, which means we're about 1.5 k's away from Melilla, our destination for tonight. Some of the albergues allow you to book in advance, so I thought that would be wise, and this one was very well rated. In any case, I booked it for 2 nights from now, so not much good for us for tonight. I feel really stupid, given that's my job. Oh well. I've just found another place close by.
What is it? You fucked if I know how you can get it wrong.
Yeah, this Paul. Wow, it's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, we're day 3 on our French Camino, starting in Sarria. I forgot my stick last night at the albergue where we were supposed to stay. So I've got to go collect the stick first, and then we'll be on the way. I got my stick back. Well, we're about 3 kilometres in on day 3 today. This morning's walk thus far, it's been very natural through a forest. Nice creek running through here. But it's almost 9 AM, so we are in mid-October, and you can see even at 9 AM here in the forest, it's really dark. So lots of walkers get up the crack of dawn when it's still really dark and hit the trail. But if you plan to do that, bring a torch. Rain's really settled in this morning. Everyone's got their jackets, umbrellas out. Paul's got his poncho on. Don't know whether to take the rain jacket off.
Yeah, I know. I only didn't just then because I thought if it starts raining, I'm in a very open stretch to get rained on.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello.
Jacket's off. We just stopped for a drink, bumped into some Italians, some young Aussies, Kiwis. Paul was talking to a Danish couple and they got on to talking about tattoos. He had what looked like a Chinese symbol tattooed onto his head. And he was telling Paul in a very dry, Danish, matter-of-fact way that his mum didn't like tattoos. So when he was 16, he got what he thought was a henna tattoo on his head. And he was joking it's 35 years later and it still hasn't come off. So fast from blue skies, raining again, that one caught me out. And as soon as it started, it's more or less disappeared again. For now. Yes, Alicia.
I think you have...
This brave family is doing the Camino on bike together. Hola. I'm so impressed by this family. Now they're setting up a little tow rope to help the young ones up the hill.
A ver, ahí está. Ahí está, vamos, vamos.
Isn't that awesome?
Look at that. Nothing in between there.
So we've just arrived in O Pedrouzo, I think it's called. So we did about 30 odd k's today. Today was a really nice day, walking through the forest. We had some rain, but for the last half of the day, perfect. It was very nice. So we're at an albergue again tonight. So this one's got bunk beds. It's well set up with power points. There's a nice common area where you can cook and eat. There's washing facilities, showers. You can hire a towel for €1. So that's what we're doing. Some fella over here who just snored the entire night and then proceeded to do all of his packing, reshuffling, organisation, stretching, affirmations. I don't know what else was going on here this morning. So we're about to take off and we just saw 3 pairs of walkers linked arm in arm, and there were 3 blind walkers guided by friends. So that was very lovely to see, very moving. Paul's such a fast walker, and this morning just as we were leaving town we bumped into this Dutch lady. She started a couple of days ago. We chatted for about 5 minutes and then Paul's hit 4th gear and away he went, but she seemed to keep up, so I'm just dawdling behind at the moment. I walked behind a woman this morning and noticed she was wearing 1 white shoe, 1 black shoe, so I just made that as a comment. I said, "Oh, you got a set of shoes?" She said, "Yeah, I brought 2 with me. My podiatrist told me it was a bad idea, but 1 set fits me better on 1 foot," and vice versa. In any case, she was an Australian woman and she's been on the way for about 35 days. Probably slightly inspiring to hear her experience. I don't even know her name. It was a 10-minute chat. But she's going through a relationship breakup. She's going through a divorce. She's got teenage children. She was speaking of the history of the pilgrimage and how historically some pilgrims would bring stones with them, and they would unburden themselves by removing these stones at various places, most famously the Iron Cross that she said is the highest point on the Camino Frances. She explained that a lot of her poor decision making has been made from trying to please people, so that's been a real motivation for her to recognise this and come out the other side unencumbered. So I really appreciated hearing her perspective and that imagery of that physical unburdening of taking something away, something that's weighing you down. And she described a feeling of freedom and positivity, so that was really nice. Many of the walkers, and I fit into this category, that I've spoken to thus far, this has been an adventure, a travel experience. So here was someone who seems to have spiritually, I guess, is that the word for it? Spiritually benefited from the offerings of the Camino. I was just thinking about it, maybe because that's what she was looking for. She came with that in mind. She came with a purpose. Once again, I'm just so impressed by those people with vision impairment who have the courage and the get up and go to give a challenge of this nature a real crack. I've just started to hear the gaiter. The gaiter is a Celtic instrument that very much resembles the bagpipes. You can hear it off in the distance, maybe at a pension or a cafe. So unique, so emblematic of this part of the world.
So many.
Thank you.
10 k's to go.
Wow. Very good.
1,500 pilgrims arrived in Santiago de Compostella yesterday, and it's estimated that there'll be a similar amount of walkers arriving today from the various routes that come across from the Iberian Peninsula. Even in these few days that Paul and I have walked the Camino, we've met someone who started from their home in Austria, someone else who started in Denmark. So once again exemplifying that people can start their Camino from anywhere, from your home on the other side of the world, or from one of the established routes in Spain, Portugal, or France. Here comes the rain again. I'm gonna take a gamble and just keep going. Probably have a mad scramble for my jacket any minute. Paul up ahead's going for the poncho. I'm very much looking forward to getting into Praça de Obradoiro today, to see the pilgrims come from each corner of the square, and that feeling of
joy and exaltation and a lot of relief, I'm sure, for many of the pilgrims, particularly for those who travelled a really long way. This has this lovely crescendo as you enter into the last 4 and a bit kilometres. We're up here on a grassy area, and off in the distance you can see the towers of the Gothic Cathedral of St. James. This looks familiar. It's the family on the bike. They've caught up.
Well done.
What a homeless. Just arrived in Santiago, and the weather's about as good as it could possibly be, and my nose just won't stop running. I've been sneezing for the last 2 days. I've got some type of cold at the end of my guiding season. The body's just finally said, now you can get sick, but feeling really good otherwise. And Paul and our new friend Deborah are just sitting in the sun in the main square. I've just kind of got a few drinks. We've just picked up our Compostellas, our certificates. Paul's name in Latin is
Paulum.
Paulum, mine's Patricium. I've lost my last 2 of these, so I'll send this one back to Paul to look after. Crashed the drone this morning. It's on the balcony below, so I've tied together all my t-shirts with a coat hanger at the end. I'm on a rescue mission. I guess this is first steps on the Camino Fisterre, or the Finisterre way. So to the ends of the earth. It's raining. We've started late. I crashed my drone this morning, delaying our departure slightly. Paul's really tired. I'm really tired. Not so much to do with the walk thus far. Of course, that's got something to do with it. But just with the demands of travel, it's the end of my work season. And motivation's pretty low this morning.
Lovely flower passion fruit. Fresca, fresca.
Currently in the middle of about a 300 metre elevation gain. It's really humid. It's hard yakka.
Very lovely town. What's in my chair?
Strange mood on the Camino Finisterre. So for Paul and I, this was a bit of a cherry on the top. We didn't have long enough to do the Portuguese Camino or the Primitivo from Oviedo, which I think I'd planted the seed for with him about a year ago when I bought our credentials from Oviedo. I was up there for some other reasons. So the time that we had allowed for some different adventures. We had a chat amongst ourselves and we kind of settled on doing a short Camino because that, again, that's the time that we had. And we also had enough time to head on out to the end of the earth, as it's known. At least for me though, it doesn't feel like it was a very strongly articulated or shared goal, and that it's a bit more of a when in Rome situation. We have the time, so let's do something, so let's keep going. Also, I think you get wrapped up in this excitement of all of the pilgrims coming into the main square, and there's that relief, there's that unburdening, taking the backpack off. There's that real excitement, but there's also that popping of the bubble, and there's sadness, particularly for the people who've created really strong relationships over the last month and a half for some people. I know that Paul and I have still felt that lack of momentum. So this morning, we were even tossing up whether we were going to do this. Within about 20 minutes, I'd looked up, getting a bus out to Finisterre and walking to Mouchy instead, taking a train to Oviedo, flying somewhere. I'm glad we've continued, and that town was gorgeous. We're halfway there today. Our accommodation, our pension where we're staying tonight, have replied to a message and they'll take us up until about 9 o'clock. And they've also got a kitchen that's open till 9 o'clock. So we have a goal, we have a time to work towards. We'll continue on.
We've just put the drone up and I was rather concerned about the black clouds coming in over this sort of mountain range here and the fact that it's clearly going to rain soon. We've just covered along this path probably 4 kilometres, and as you can see the path is pretty good, but there were 2 puddles out of the last 4 kilometres and we've managed to land the drone in the puddle.
I thought I was being so clever, fly the drone over us and then send it up ahead on the path and land it on the path so we could pick it up on the way through. But I landed it on a puddle. I have a history of crashing and losing drones, so Paul's concerned.
I reckon 23.
Big day today, and we've got ourselves a set pilgrim's menu.
You can never go wrong with pasta.
No. We'll save you the really gory stuff, but Paul's doing his typical end of day foot inspection. His feet, oh, are you okay? His feet are getting worse and worse. Looks like a wet day today. Today's our second day on the Camino Finisterre. We're heading to a place called Logoso today, about 25 k's away. He's like a bear. See you, mate. Well, the walk out to Finisterre so far has been through a lot of agricultural country. Lots of corn, lots of grass, lots of dairy. It's much quieter than the last few days of the French way that we finished up. There's not as many cafes or restaurants or places to stay, but plenty enough. We found our groove again. Yesterday was a long day. We got up around 36 kilometers. We started late, we finished late, but it was satisfying to get to the pension at the end of the day, have a quick meal, and then just pass out really.
¿Qué tal el bocadillo?
How'd you enjoy your bocadillo? It's been a really wet few hours. A lot of road walking today. About 4 k's to go. About 4 hours of solid rain today. Final day on the Camino Finisterre. We've got about 30-35 k's ahead of us. Today looks and feels pretty ominous and gross and unmotivating, but we'll get started. Over the last couple of days, the days have steadily improved before getting worse, but we'll see how we go. Well, the rain stayed away this morning so far, and we've come to a junction in the track. So on the Camino Finisterre, the classic way is to head where we're going, Fisterra, Gallego, Finisterre in Castellano. But you can also head to Murcia. So at this point, it's about 27 k's to Murcia or 30 to get to Finisterre. A lot of people continue on one way or the other, And then between the two along the coastline, it's 30 kilometres. So 1 day for some, 2 day for most. There's a fella walking ahead with a small white dog. Dog's walking a couple of metres ahead of him, and then every couple of metres looks back, makes sure his mate's still there. The dog's either got a limp or 3 legs. Everyone's got a limp though, so solidarity. Muy popular. Had a nice chat with this fella walking with the dog here. So the pup had a limp because yesterday it came across 2 dogs that were by themselves and they had a go at the small white dog. So it's a bit shaken up and a bit sore. So he was a nice fella from Malaga in the south of Spain. He's done a few Caminos. He's 41, he's got 2 young kids, and just an opportunity to get away and clear his head, get away from the dry part of Spain and up here into the misty green. You cover such a broad range of topics when you talk to people in a short period of time. But one of the great benefits of conversations on the Camino, they can be quite deep in a very short period of time. People seem to entrust their secrets to strangers and have harder conversations that you might even be able to have with those nearest and dearest.
Hola.
One thing that Paul's really enjoyed along the way is all of the placemats. They've all got maps on them. This one's quite handy. So we started our Finisterre Camino here. Our first night we stopped in Villa Sarria. Last night we were in Logoso, I think. Yep. And today we're heading all the way to Finisterre. Or you can see the way it's written in Gallego, Fisterra. Either way, end of the earth. Cheers. Made entirely of shells. It's a beautiful morning and we've made it to Finisterre. We're about to go pick up our certificate of completion and jump on a bus back to Santiago.